So these are my first videos that I've created. This is my life story of my marriage uh, to where I had ended up getting a divorce, and it was a very heartbreaking story. Um, but from the beginning, it was all great. Um, I was getting out of a relationship with my ex before my ex-wife, and um, I found out she cheated on me. And that's just my instincts of um, when things get odd, you kind of get suspicious, and I have a history of getting cheated on and lied to. So, um, but then after that, I didn't think I was gonna be with anybody else. Like I wasn't expecting to be with anybody else. But when my ex-wife stepped in, we was texting back and forth, and she helped me to not quit on getting a relationship and find a love. And so that's how I found it with her. Um, we had been texting ever since, and then we first had met at the lake, um, to where she wanted to see me in person. And then after that, we've been hanging out ever since. And she's been through a lot, and I understood that. Um, but then uh, when things started to get hard for her, I had stayed with my mom, and she had stayed with hers. Uh, I had worked at this job called Tridem, and she would always call me about almost every night saying, "Can you come get me?" She would be crying, and then I hear her son in the background crying. And I leave work when I'm not supposed to, but I do it because, I care for her, and, I want the best for her and her son. I don't like the way she was. Like, that had hurt me. So when I've been picking her up, we've been like hanging out at the parking lot of any fast food restaurant or a gas station. I would talk with her and comfort her that she would feel better afterwards. But then, she has to go back to the same house. But when things got worse, with her family, I had tried to beg my mom for her to stay with me. And when I was able to beg my mom, and my mom said yes, only because that she had her son. If it wasn't for her son, she wouldn't have been able to do that yet because we weren't married. But when we moved to my mom's, we had stayed there for a while, and then I had to pray to God, and I was like, I got to just go ahead and get a house because I don't want to burden my mom, and I want us to have our own place because, soon enough I'll probably be having a family. So then after the thought, I've been working hard ever since, working 7 days a week, and working harder, doing longer hours, saving up money. When I did that, then that is when I got in contact with a renter, and he had showed us the house. And when he showed us the house, we was like, yeah, we gotta get this. This is the right size, 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom. We gotta get this. So we ended up getting it. But I had made a decision. She was saying that, maybe we're not ready for that yet. Maybe it's too early for to get a house because, where the money's gonna come from. But, I had faith and I had hope. So we went ahead and signed the lease, and we moved in. But with things for her, I want to get her life straight and help her get be successful. I helped her graduate school because she said she wasn't going to graduate. She wasn't going to walk the stage, but I didn't force her. I had tried to help her to get to there because I was like, I want to see you walk that stage. And I was like, maybe our kids, want to see both of us walk that stage. And so she did walk the stage, and she, and I was proud of her at that moment. I was very. Then, after the graduation, I was like, all right, next step is your learners. I want you to be able to drive your car and go anywhere, with your own car. So I helped her try to get her study for her learners, and was pushing her. Then, when she finally got her learners, she, I was proud of her. It took her twice, but I was proud of her because, I was still there to help her get her learners. After that, we celebrated at my grandmother's. My grandmother and them had something for her. Moving on to Christmas, that was a hard time because I had to work in Charlottesville, and I had to stay in a hotel up there, and I was trying to see if my family can go with me. Talking about my ex-wife and her son, and they were able to go with me to the hotel while I was working in Charlottesville. When I did, her son was getting bigger and older, and I wanted to get him a new car seat because he was still in the small car seat. So when I got him a new car seat, he started throwing up a lot, and his body was like his face had dots on his face and reddish purple on his neck. So I was very concerned. I was asking her, I was like, have you, do you know what this is? She was confused too. So I took him to the hospital at UVA. And when I did, they started running some tests, and then they was looking at me. I'm like, I'm confused. All these tests y'all doing, what are you looking for specifically? Because they were going through, looking through the bones, and, of course they're going to check the heart rate and stuff like that. But they were just checking the whole body, went through a whole system to check the whole body from head to toe. So when that happened, we stayed there for a night. And after that night, CPS came. And they were like, Robbie, you just have to be away from him, because UVA told the CPS that I was an aggressive person to him. But I was like, what? Because there's no marks on him to where I touched him. Why would I bring him to a hospital and be concerned about his health? And you telling me I'm an aggressive person? I abused a child? I'm not like that. I love children with all my heart. I loved him with all my heart. That bond I had with him is a bond I never had with my father. So, of course, they had a police officer come in, escort me out the room and out the building. As I was walking out the room, I can never forget, his face. He was crying so hard, and I was crying with him because, it hurt me to see him cry and seeing me lose him. And then when I left, I was praying to God, hoping to see my family again and, come close back. Then when CPS, said, well, they don't have proof of you doing that, after a while, I was able to get back with my family. And I was, so thankful and grateful, and I was so happy to see him again. And he was definitely happy to see me. But after working in Charlottesville, came back and, things were still good. And I started to still work hard more and, keep doing things for them. Like, we went out all the time. We went on vacation to Williamsburg and Massanutten. We did a lot together, and, I would always spoil them to where, like, I brought so many clothes and shoes and brought him toys and brought her stuff, that she wanted and needed for both of them. But then, my grandmother and them had a dinner at their house, and I was like, I'm thinking about proposing to her, because I said, I feel like this is the right one for me. And when I did propose, I told her I'm ready to start our journey. I'm ready to do this together. And she, of course, said yes, and it's been great after since that. And then, not too long, August 20th, we got married. Things were great. Like, my grandparents had booked us a Massanutten resort for a week for our honeymoon, and it was good. It was really good. We had a great time, and we did a lot together down there. But things started to downfall slowly, to where, like, at first, like, her mom, volunteered before we left to go to our honeymoon. She volunteered to watch her son. And I was like, cool. That's real cool. So then when we got up there Sunday night, she ended up calling and said of how we needed to come get him. We was confused, like, you volunteered yourself, why would you even? So I kind of got mad about it, because I was like, my parents wanted to watch him, but then you volunteered yourself and you want us to go way down there to pick him up. So then she came all the way down there to drop him off, and he had a great time too, because we did a lot of things with him, which was cool. Like, even though, like, I was mad at first, it's only because you don't volunteer yourself and then up and quits. Like, a child's gonna be a child, and it's not bad. It's a good child. And but yeah, we did a lot. And then my grandparents felt bad that, we were trying to spend time together. So, they took him up after 2 days of him being up there with us. And they took him up, and we, finished our honeymoon off smoothly. And then, we was able to come back home to our house, and, it felt good. It did feel good. And it's a lot of things here that, we started going shopping for, going on Amazon, and I was telling her, hey, look, this is our house. And I was like, whatever you want, you can get it. Like, if you want to decorate the house, I'm gonna lead you to that. I'm gonna let you decorate and, get the stuff that, would suit the house, because it's our home. And her son had his own room, and we had ours in the back. Then, I was still working 7 days a week. trying to keep working hard, and I helped her get a job. Um, then after that season was over, I helped her get another job, and then after a while, she was expecting. So then when I got two pregnancy tests, they both said positive. And we were so happy because we've been trying for a long time. And fast forward to where December 14th was my birthday. And, it was nice. We didn't really, do anything because I wanted to spend time with my family, see my family. Because we were going through a hard situation, an argument. And, she stayed with her mom for a little bit while I was here by myself. So I told her on my birthday, I'm going to come get y'all and, bring y'all back home because we can work this out together, whatever situation we're going through. So I did that and came back home, and then December 15th, that's when things got worse. To where, like, my older best friend, she didn't, my ex-wife didn't really like my older best friend. And because of her going through on my phone and taking, like, her contact picture and putting a photo up of her, and kind of, it's like showing her chest like this, but like she's flat chested, so she don't really have a chest like that. But she got jealous. She didn't like that. I'll say that she didn't like that, and she said I disrespected her for it. And then that day when I was at work, my older best friend had sent me a voice message, and I didn't listen to it, but I looked at it, and I had called my ex-wife up. I said, look, my older best friend had sent me a voice message. I was like, I didn't listen to it, but I wanted to let you know. So after that is when she got mad. And I had a feeling that was gonna happen, that she was gonna get mad. I had a feeling because, like, I wanted to tell the truth to her. I wanted to show her that you can, trust me, but, it didn't work out the way I thought it would have. So then that is when we had a talk when I got home. And then once I got home, we both sat on the couch. She sat in front of me. Then I sat over here, and she was venting to me, and she was, upset. She was very upset, to where, like, she was, like, mad upset. And so then her son was in the room watching TV, and he started crying because, she was yelling. And so then I got up, and I went in the room, and I was thinking she was going to stay in here, but it didn't happen that way. So when I went in the room, that's when she thought, like, I was going to take her son away from her. Because she was telling her dad that, I was trying to go somewhere with her son, but I wasn't going anywhere. Because before I even went in his room, I had sat on the couch and changed his diaper and put some clothes on him, and it was pajamas. And somehow I was taking them from her. But that's not what I was doing, because I had shorts on, and I had no jacket on, and he didn't have no jacket. He didn't have no regular clothes on. He just had pajamas. And her dad said, Robbie, if you take my grandson away, this, da-da-da. He started threatening me, and I'm like, what is all this for? Like, what am I, doing wrong? All I'm doing is just trying to be a father, trying to change him. So I had put him down, and he went back in the room. Then, like I said, she had gotten loud, and I went in his room, and I closed the door, and she came behind me, and that's when she started trying to push open the door, and then he was scared, and he was holding on to me, and then I picked him up, tried to go outside with him to calm him down, and she wouldn't let me outside. So then when I was able to get outside, she came outside behind me, and she was knocking on my car door because that's where we were sitting at. And she was like, "Give my son, he's not your son, this and that." I said, "I understand that, but you see him crying right now. You see him hurt. And you over here, doing all this stuff." So then she went across the way to our neighbors, and she was knocking on the door, trying to ask for help. Before the process even happened, I called my grandmother to come over here and talk with us because she's a pastor, and I wanted her to have a talk with us about the relationship. And my grandmother had came just in time to get her, and the neighbors never answered the door. And then she came in with her, and then she started getting smart, and she was like, "You know what, I don't want to hide this secret no more. I'm pregnant." And she was like, "I bet Archie didn't tell you that." And they was like, "Nah." I was like, "Yeah," because we was trying to surprise everybody when it came to the time, to where she was getting closer. So then that's when she was saying she gonna get an abortion, and my grandma was like, it's both of our choices, but she was like, "It's my body, it's my choice," so I had no say in anything. And then the way she was talking to my grandmother, I was sitting there, I was like, "Why are you gonna disrespect her? I never said anything to disrespect your family, so why would you just sit there and disrespect her?" And then my grandmother was like, "No, it's okay, it's okay." And because my grandmother was trying to prevent fights and arguments from happening. And then when her mom showed up, her sister tried to come in, barge in my door, try to fight me. And then went out. She had went out the door, took all her stuff, and they left. That night, the police officer had showed up, and he's like, "You Robbie?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "So what's been going on?" I said, "Yes, we did have an argument. But I was like, what did she tell you?" And he was like, basically, she had said, you picked her up, threw her on the ground, and smacked the glasses off her face and was choking her. It's like, I said, "Now make this make sense. I'm only 130 pounds. She's about 200 and something." I was like, "I definitely cannot pick up a 200-something woman." And he started laughing, and because he knew it was true, because I'm smaller than she is. And then with the glasses, I paid for those $300-some glasses, and I didn't smack her on the face. I took the glasses off her face and threw them on the ground, just as well as her headphones. I had taken off the table and threw them on the ground because I paid for it, and you're not gonna treat me the way you are. So then after that, the police officer, he had left, and that was it, because he seen that they had a record from where they lived, and of how things weren't true as as I had told him that they had told him too. So then that was it. After that night, then things got worse after that. My numbers started to go out to other people, to where people was calling me the N-word and saying, "You better count your days and do this, da da da." And I'm like, what am I even doing wrong? Because I'm not doing anything to anybody, not saying anything to anybody. I'm just over here trying to live my life. And I couldn't do that because people kept trying to text my phone and do all that type of stuff. And I told my mom, and my mom had told her dad, and her dad was really mad and stuff. So he got on her for it. Then, I went and changed my number. And then, like, I started to have depression. Like, I started to lose weight. I started to, like, not want to be home anymore. And I started to, like, just be depressed all the time. Like, I was just in that mood because everything everything I've done, it hurt me. To where, why would she do this to me in the end when I did so much? They didn't have all that I had given them. And I had hope, but she had lost that hope and faith in us. And then, like, she started listening to, like, whoever, and they were saying of how my mom shouldn't be in it. You're right. None of our parents should be in it. But, that happened to where your mom showed up. And my mom was at work. She had got called by your dad because your dad had said that you said that I had put hands on you and was, taking Jackson from you, doing everything. Then days after, like, we talked and she called. Then she was telling me that how she had got an abortion. I said, wow. Like, I had no say in anything. I was broke down that night. I was crying because she knew that I wanted kids. She knew I did, but I had no say in anything. And then, like, I wasn't able to see Jackson after in our relationship. We were dating. She said that, if we don't end up together, you will be able to see your son because he is your son. But that didn't happen. She only did that because she wanted to keep hurting me. She didn't want to see me happy. She wanted to make my life miserable. So then, like, she was supposed to come, get all her stuff that I had brought. Half of the stuff that she has, I brought. She only brought a little bit coming from her mom's house. But I'm not the type of person to not let a person, like, get what, they wanted and needed. Like, I just said heck with it. Then she called me when I was at my job and was like, I want to come get the rest of my stuff. And I said, yeah, you can definitely, like, come get it. I was like, you just let me know what time and I have everything outside for you. And she was like, why you don't have stuff outside now? I was like, well, because, we have a neighbor that, has a dog and they'll tear up the clothes and stuff. And I'm not the type of person to leave their stuff outside and get it destroyed. But other people say, like, I should just leave it outside, just heck with it, But I'm not, like I said, I'm not the type of person to be. So then that is when, like,